so like lyrical as well. It's really appealing. Çocuk anladım. Then drowning.
Yeah.
But then I'm still trapped for an hour because the blonde administrative lady.
It's
I
all
do know.
heard all the time.
Yeah, yeah, especially because like good at history.
Yeah.
And then he just dropped out of
now she better boyfriend?
No.
Shut the fuck up.
Right.
Sorry.
Bro, why are you so mean?
That was
What
so
did I do?
intense.
Yo. Yo, fuck my god, you're so funny. I've never seen that. Can you do that?
find strategies to live with it. Yeah. And it doesn't make their life shit because, you know, it's just add layer to their life. My dad said
the rest of my work isn't to do with that. I kind of thought they were almost back to back. I was like, really? They also did have that.
And then that's it. I'm not doing it.
I know it's not meant to be enjoyable, but like it's just like so much pain, and I was kind of like, what am I doing this for?
One of our new graduate trainees said the other day, used to be known for almost getting.
And I was like, oh, this is so much more stronger. Yeah. And then just gets like really proud of yourself, but it's so good. Like,
all of a sudden going to accelerate and oh shit, there's a car.
This could be it, actually. Let me see. If it's, what could be it?
Oh my god.
I know there's no room, but we're going to start setting up anyway. So, yeah. Might as well just get on with it. Once everyone else starts coming on half nine.
Shower or something. We only made £2.6 million.
I'm planning the most magical night. I'm just like preparing in advance. How lovely is that little? Guys, how nice is that? Yeah.
You look dusty.
Oh, I was excited. Actually, so much we feel like we should run into anyone else.
I actually ran in yesterday when I came back from sick. I ran into like my colleagues. They had like a nice little conversation. They were nice to me, and I was like, yeah. They're like asking for tips on like the tragedy paper, and I was like, hey, we're friends again. I was like, you guys like me? But it's like, I don't know, who's always like, no wait, tonight wasn't there anymore. What? Tonight? What? Oh,
Hello, Alice. How are you? Not too bad, not too bad. How are you?
hello, what are you guys doing? It's good, but I think it's like got loads of.
Maybe you're American. Are we gonna be okay on that bridge?
one, so you can explosive card. It's only for us, isn't it? So you go on that one, miss that one, do that. This is how we get explosive card.
I thought you go straight again then. Or go straight through.
Oh, you go score straight through, but you can do one miss on your hand like that, you can get explosive card. Yeah? Get the next one. No, two more. Yeah, got two there, you want two more there. And one base.
You're young, right?
Get to know people.
Yeah, you can see it.
You've got to pump it full of water.
Yeah, but the alcohol was pretty neat though.
black symptoms?
Good question. But it's okay. Because I got that.
I'm not gonna lie though, I think I haven't seen Robot Buttons in the cinema. I thought it was too expensive.
It's the only dance that has one.
I know.
But if you've got a concert on Tuesday, why?
You could surely sample tomorrow.
No. I was like, go just.
But it's in a little swimming closet. Come on.
But I was like, no, I was like, go just treat yourself.
Поехал на один день, Валентина его вызвала.
Dutch was
Валентин, не на, Валентину.
Because it was the first time I met her or something like that. Like, you've talked about learning so many things, but I've never met.
sad.